Let me start with some general information on amphibian. Amphibians are cold-blooded animals and live both in water and on land. And they have special characteristics, that is, they have permeable skin and they are very sensitive towards any small changes in their environmental and and acts as a biological indicator of water condition and their surrounding. Amphibians plays a vital role in our ecosystem and supports human life in various ways and also help maintaining the food chain in ecosystem. Anthropogenic activities, wetland degradation and water pollution cause a decline in amphibian population. However, a few population tolerant species are capable to adapt in polluted water. Moving to the rationale of study, the research was important because almost no research on amphibians as a biological indicator. And with this study of amphibians, water condition of wetlands and surrounding environment could also be understood. And this research helps to recognize the major threats to amphibians in the study area. The general objectives of my research work was to study amphibians as biological indicator of water condition and understand its relationship with humans. And the specific objectives are to identify the amphibians found in wetlands of Japa and Ilam district, and to study the physiochemical parameters of water in relation to amphibians, and finally to understand about the local people's perception towards amphibians and the conservation activity. And moving to the research study area, two districts from the Eastern Nepal was selected, including Ilam and Japa. From Ilam, Maipokhari, Haspokhari, and Sukhani were the study area, and from Japa, Buroholi, Jamunkhari, and Bernes of the Badapur Road in Birtamot and Kitchen Kowal was the study area from Japa. Moving to our data collection, and data was collected from two different seasons. Pre-winter season includes including the month October, November in 2018, and pre-monsoon season including the month 2019. For amphibians identification, visual encounter survey was done, and for water sampling, mixed graph sample was done, and a purposive questionnaire survey was conducted, and lastly, physiochemical parameters test was done by the titration method following Trivedi and Goal in department laboratory, and data was analyzed with the help of Microsoft Office Excel 2007. And this is the main result of my research work, and the table one shows the pre-winter data collection and analysis. Here you can see the physiochemical parameters of pre-winter season from the different study area and the amphibians encounter in pre-winter season. From Kechana, including Euphylictis, Cynophyllictis, and Minervaria tharensis, two species were encountered. And from Jamunkhari, Minervaria tharensis, one species was encountered. And from Buroholi, including the previous mentioned species, total 3 species were encountered. And from Drainage, Euphylictis, Cynophyllictis was encountered. And from Sukhani, which is belongs to the Ilam district, total 3 species were encountered. And I would like to highlight here is the physiochemical parameters of drainage in compared to other study was found to be higher, which is 369 carbon dioxide per milligram per liter, and pH is 7.6, and 130 total hardness, and chloride 397 milligram per liter. And besides DO, which is comparatively lower than other study area. Moving to the next slide. You can see the table 2, which represents the pre-monsoon data collection and analysis. Here also I represent the physiochemical parameters of all the study area and amphibians encountered during pre-monsoon season. And from Questionnaire, total 5 species of amphibians were encountered, including Dotapharnus stomaticus, Dotapharnus melanostichus, Obliviotrachus cracus, Euphletis sinoplectis, Menorrhaea tharensis, and the tadpoles of Euphletis sinoplectis species. And from Jamunkhari, total 3 species were encountered. And from Budaholi, total 8 species, including the Euperidon teprobonicus and Hoblovitrachus tigrinus, and tadpoles of Dotapharnus species were encountered. And from Sukhani, total 4 species were encountered. And from Pokhari, Dotapharnus himalayanus was encountered, and from my Pokhari, total 3 species, including Tylototriton species, polyphidates, and tadpoles of Dotapharnus species was encountered. And here are the physiochemical parameters of different study area. And moving towards the results of questionnaire survey, the first pie chart show the result that 100% of the respondents were unknown about the importance of amphibians, which acts as a biological indicator. And here, total 24 respondents were surveyed. This is the pie chart showing that 2% people harvest frog as food, and this pie chart shows that 67% of respondents feel the numbers of frogs are declined, and this pie chart shows 100% of respondents notice changes in water quality. And moving towards the conclusion, total 11 species of amphibians were recorded, and out of 11 species, Euphletis sinoplectis, which is also encountered in the drainage, is the more tolerant to water pollution, with a pH range of 6 to 7.8, free carbon dioxide 11 to 369 milligram per liter, total hardness 30 to 397 milligram per liter, free chloride 30 to 397 milligram per liter, and diesel oxygen 4.02 to 10 milligram per liter, and alkalinity 2 to 10 milligram per liter. And the results also conclude that local communities were experiencing degradation in water condition and decrease in number of amphibians. Local communities were unknown to amphibians as biological indicator, and few amphibians are harvested for nutrient supply and for medicinal value. Moving towards the next slide. Moving towards the recommendation, since the study concluded that species of amphibians were declined and the water quality is decreased, so therefore the following points are recommended to minimize the effects on amphibians population. First, local people must be aware about the importance of amphibians, and effluent from industries and residential area must be treated before disposing in water sources. Instead of chemical fertilizers, organic fertilizers should be promoted, and pesticides pesticides and insecticides must be replaced by integrated pest management system, and deforestation must be prohibited. And here are the photo plates of amphibians which are encountered during my research work. First, figure 2, Datapharnes melanostichtus at Sukhani, and figure 2, Iphylitis cynophilitis inverness at Bitamur, and figure 4, Euperidon teproponicus at Buroholi, and figure 5, Minervaria tarensis at Jamunkhari. Similarly, figure 6, Hoplobatrachus cracus at Jamunkhari, and figure 7, Hoplobatrachus trigoninus at Buroholi, and figure 8 shows Datapharnes stomaticus at Kejana, and figure 9, Datapharnes himalayanus from the Haspokhari. And similarly, figure 10 represents Tylodotron Himalayans at my Pokhari, and figure 11, Datapharnes melanostrixus at Sukhani. And in the conclusion, I'd like to say, save amphibians to save ecosystem. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Terisa, for your presentation. If there are any questions, please enter